Hello witches, I am High Priestess Autumn Phoenix. If this live broadcast has reached your explore page or it was shared to you by other witches, then you need to watch this live broadcast to the very end. This broadcast is asking a very important question before you take this big step in your life, and that is answering the question of why do you want to be a witch? Why do you want to be a witch? Do you want to be a witch because you are going to take full responsibility, full accountability for what you do and what you don't do with your powers? Do you want to be a witch because you want to exact revenge on people? You want to hurt people? You want to kill people? You want to teach somebody or a group of people a lesson? You have to answer this question. Why do you want to be a witch? I wanted to be a witch because I wanted back control of my life as a former devout Christian and follower of Jesus. I wanted control over my life again. I wanted to take control from Jesus Christ and give it back to myself. I have always known that I was different growing up. I have always been able to wish for something and it come true, not realizing that it was actually witchcraft. I always knew that I was different from my classmates, from my friends. I just knew things. I knew that I was psychic. I knew that I was born psychic. I knew that I could foretell the future and not ever be wrong. So when I started studying witchcraft alongside Christianity, I realized that, Christianity stole a lot from witches. And I'm actually a witch. And I need to go down this path and get off the path that I was on following Christ. I knew that I had to take personal responsibility and accountability for my life. That's why I became a witch. Because I wanted control over my own life, because I was ready to take full responsibility, full accountability for my own life, because it is my life. I don't share, and you don't either, share our lives with anybody else. Even if you happen to be a twin or a triplet or whatever, your life is your life, all of it. All of it. Why do you want to become a witch? You have to sit down with an open journal, a pen, a pencil, crayon, a marker, and write down why you want this power bestowed upon you by the Queen of Witches, Hecate, or any other deity, god or goddess or ancestor or spirit animal or familiar you have chosen to work alongside. Answer this question honestly. Why do you want to be a witch? Do you want to be a witch because it's trendy now? Do you want to be a witch because next month is October, the season of the witch? Do you want to be a witch because you want powers from the movies and TV shows you watch? Matter of fact, the movies, the TV shows about witches is solely based on fiction. It's not real. Real witches are not like Harry Potter. Real witches are not like Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. Real witches are not even like the movie The Craft. It's not. What is a witch? A witch is someone male or female, because yes, men can be witches that do witchcraft. What is witchcraft? Witchcraft is working with the energy found in nature to bring about real, significant, and permanently positive change. That is the only definition of witchcraft. Forget about the definition of witchcraft according to Christians. That's low-level trash. They are low-level trash. Yes, I just said that publicly. Christians are low-level trash that needs to be swept away permanently. And their time is coming. If you have not been watching the news, really reading articles about Christians, you see that their time is slowly coming to a close. Finally, you have to ask yourself, why do you want to be a witch? Do you want to be a witch because you just want power? You want a better life for yourself? Of course, being a witch gives you a better life, because no witch should be going through life the hard way. No witch, I said this several times, many years now, no witch should be going through life the hard way. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I know for a fact a witch has powers to change his or her life, because yes, men can be witches. Listen, you cannot deny men access to the craft because they are men. You cannot deny men access to the craft because they are men. You cannot do that. Men can be witches. A witch is a witch is a witch is a witch, regardless of gender or how you identify yourself sexually. Why do you want to be a witch? You don't have to answer to me, but you do have to answer to your chosen God or gods, or if a God or goddess have chosen you to be a devotee. That question has to have a real, sincere, authentic, genuine answer. Don't just make up an answer to try to bypass the question. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Your chosen God or goddess is not stupid. They will know you're just playing the game. Answer the question honestly. Some people want to become witches just so they can say they are a witch, but yet their spells, rituals, hexes, and curses are not working. Okay, you're a witch, but your spells are not working. Your spells are not working because you are not a witch. You know how some people decide to follow the Jewish faith just so they can have a connection with the Holocaust? Oh yes, some people follow the Jewish faith just so they can have a connection with the Holocaust. Some people become witches so they can have some sort of connection with the Salem witch trials. They don't actually care about Jews. They don't actually care about witches. They don't actually care about the Salem witch trials. It's all a show. And that's why their spells don't work, and that's why the people of the Jewish community don't receive them, because they have a sick obsession with the Holocaust. They have a sick obsession with the Salem witch trials. That's the truth. That is the truth. Why do you want to be a witch? Why? You have to answer this question. Don't lie to yourself. Lying to yourself will make a bad situation worse, especially if you're working alongside a god like Ares or Aphrodite or Athena or Hecate or Apollo. Yeah, don't do that. Don't be dishonest with those gods. Especially, I believe, if you are working alongside your ancestors, because your ancestors already know you because you both share a bloodline. Next month is October. October is the season of the witch. So yeah, of course you're going to be seeing people who want to become witches, but when November comes around, they are no longer a witch. They are just a witch for October. No. If you're going to be a witch, you cannot be a witch just for October. You have to also be a witch in November and December for the entire year. You cannot just be a witch for October and then abandon it. Do you really think your chosen god or goddess is going to be happy about that? Can you imagine doing that to a goddess, the dog mother known as Hecate? Playing that game? being stupid, yeah, you're gonna get your ass handed to you. You will, and you would deserve it. Being a witch is serious business. That's why I always say only people who are willing to take full responsibility, full accountability can become a true blue, genuine, authentic, real, sincere witch. Anybody doing the opposite is not a witch. They are an actress. They just have a sick obsession with the solemn witch trials. Have you noticed that in the late weeks of September and all through October, you see news articles, you see magazine articles, you see magazines on store shelves about witches? Why are witches only thought of in October? Is it because it is the season of the witch? It is the time for witches, or do they just want to jump on the bandwagon and cash in on our faith? The answer to that question is they just want to jump on the bandwagon and cash in on our faith. Our faith as witches is a joke to these magazines. It's a joke. That's why you see so many articles, so many magazines, so many shows and movies about witches in October, because they want to cash in on our faith. They are making a mockery of witches. They're making a joke of witches. Until one of those people, one of those companies, one of those magazine organizations falls under the curse of a witch that is fed up with their shit. That's why. That's why you see such an incredible interest in witches in the late months of September and all through October, because they're cashing and making a mockery of our faith as witches. They seek out witches to interview in October. You know how they seek these witches out? Based on their presence on social media, based on how many followers they have, based on how witchy their profiles look. That's how they seek out witches to interview in the month of October. That's how. You see, if they were to interview a witch like me, I'm going to tell them the real. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to lie and say this when it's really that. I'm not going to brown nose. I'm not going to kiss nobody's ass either. I don't do that. I'd rather die than have to sniff someone's ass to get their approval. To hell with you. I'm going to tell you the real about witches. That's why I probably would never get interviewed, because they don't want the truth about witches, because the truth about witches does not sell magazines. It does not bring in ratings on TV. It does not drive people to the movies to watch movies about witches. If people really knew the truth about witches, they would say something along the lines of, oh, well, they're normal. They look normal. That's not what we want to sell in the magazines. That's not what we want to put in a movie theater. In October, witches tend to become a trend. Something to play with, a toy. And I see it. I hear it. I'm not nosy. Listen, I'm not nosy. But I do hear, I do overhear people in stores that have Halloween decorations and Halloween costumes up saying, I'm going to be a witch for October, for Halloween. But I've never heard someone in a Halloween store mention Samhain. As witches, or if you are a new witch, Samhain is the witch's new year on October 31st. It's the time when the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest, and it's easier to communicate with loved ones and pets that have passed on to the pagan afterlife known as Summerland. I've never seen that. I've never been in a Halloween store, Target, CVS, Spirit Halloween, Party City, and overheard someone mention Samhain. Samhain can be pronounced Samhain, Salvine, and Samhain. Those are the three pronunciations for Samhain. Samhain is not pronounced Samhain. It's spelled that way, Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain. And Samhain is the holiest night in the witch's wicked will. Samhain is our night. I know that Samhain and Halloween both fall on October 31st, but Halloween and Samhain are not the same. Do you want to be a witch just because you want to be one for Halloween? That's fine. It's fine to dress up as a witch for Halloween. That's fine. But don't declare yourself to be an actual witch if you are not a witch. If you have not cast any spells, rituals, hexes, or curses, you have not decided to take full accountability, full responsibility for yourself. Why do you want to be a witch? You have to answer. I can't stress this enough. You have to answer this question honestly. You have to be somewhere where there's quiet. Maybe at the time of the witching hour. The witching hour is between 3 and 6 a.m. That's when spirit activity is most active. It is easier to do witchcraft because you don't have the disruptions and the interruptions of the outside world. So that's why it's called the witching hour. The witching hour is also called for Christians known as fourth watch. Fourth watch for Christians are Christians, pastors, prophets who try to pray against what witches are trying to summon or cast. So there is this spiritual battle between witches and Christians between 3 and 6 a.m. in the morning, because for Christians it's called fourth watch, where Christians, pastors, prophets of Jesus Christ pray against what witches are doing at that same time. So there is a spiritual battle, but witches usually come on top of that battle because Hecate is more powerful than Jesus Christ. Hecate is more powerful than Jesus Christ. That's the truth. I don't care who gets mad or who pisses their pants or who cries or whines or complains or shake their head or stomp their feet. It's the truth. Hecate is more powerful than Jesus Christ. Accept it and move on. Okay, great. So why do you want to be a witch? Why do you want to be a witch? You have to answer this question honestly. Because the chosen God or goddess that you work alongside may ask you to do something, to go somewhere, to say something that you may not feel comfortable doing. But you have faith in that chosen God or goddess that they will protect you from anything harmful that might rear its ugly head. Yes, of course, Hecate has told me to do things, to say things, to be somewhere where I'm a little bit hesitant about, but I've always listened and it has always turned out right. It has never turned out wrong. Now listen, you know that I also used to be a former Christian. I used to be a former devout follower of Jesus, and he told me to do things and say things and go places that got me in trouble. So he doesn't know anything. He doesn't. And this is coming from a former Christian, a former devout Christian who is now a devout follower of Hecate. I will never go back to life as a Christian. I will never return to Christianity. I won't. I can't. Christianity is a cult. It is. They have sex with children. They rape children. They have sex with animals. They have sex with babies. This is all true. Why do you think that Christians don't call out having sex with children? Because they would have to tell on themselves. Yeah, I had sex with that little girl. They would have to say, yeah, I had sex with that little boy. That's why they don't talk about it in the church. Because they would be telling on themselves. I think I just exposed some people. Oh, well. Stop having sex with children. And you won't have to be exposed. Stop putting your dick inside of a little boy's booty hole. Take your dick out of that little boy's booty hole. That's a harsh thing to say here live publicly, but it's also the truth. Deal with it. Deal with it. Stop being a pedophile. So I would never return back to Christianity. I don't want to be part of a cult. I don't want to be part of an organization in which if you leave, they make your life afterwards a living hell. A lot of people who are witches used to be Christians or Muslims or follow the Jewish faith. Many. I know former Christians, former Muslims, former people of the Abrahamic faith who are now witches, who are now succeeded in life because Jesus could not do it for them. Muhammad could not do it for them. Buddha could not do it for them. But they are now making successful things happen in your eyes. Finally, for some of them. Because no witch should be going through life the hard way. Ask yourself this question. Why do you want to be a witch? Why do you want to be a witch? There are so many reasons to be a witch. The number one reason that I believe that we would want to be a witch is because you want control over your own life. You need control over your own life. You're not getting it where you are right now. When you choose a god or goddess or a familiar or a spirit animal or ancestor to work alongside, you are making a conscious decision to be a follower of them, to be a devotee of them, and to not question, to not wander, to not be in a state of confusion. You know, when I was a Christian, I was always in a state of confusion. Always in a state of confusion. I don't like being confused. You know, I'm not stupid by any stretch of the imagination. If somebody called me stupid, that would be the joke of the millennium. It would be. Because you must be on a scale. You must be, let me not say that. You must be, like the kids say, you must be bugging out. You must be bugging out. You must be tripping. You must be tripping. Being a witch means taking full responsibility, full accountability for your own life, because it is your own life. You don't share your life with anybody. You don't at all. Your life is all your own. Somebody has to write that down right now. My life is my own, all of it. I don't share my life with anybody. I was born alone. Guess what? It's the truth also that you are going to die alone. You're going to be in that casket or in that crematorium by yourself. You see, when you become a witch, you become much more honest if you were not more honest or very blunt or very forward beforehand. And keep in mind, witches, when it comes to me, I'm a Scorpio. I am a Scorpio. You know Scorpios, keep it real. They can tell you the truth to the point where you might think they are being cruel. Like, that's a horrible thing to say. How can you say that? Take back what you said. Apologize right now. A Scorpio is not going to do that. So I may say things that might sound cruel or hurtful or angry or evil or sadistic, but you know it's the truth. You might not like my delivery, but I'm not going to be fake and phony and kiss nobody's ass. I don't kiss ass. I will tell you the truth exactly as it is. My delivery of how I deliver that truth is irrelevant. It means nothing as long as you got the truth. So when you become a witch, you become much more honest because you are now much more observant. You can see more now. You can see the truth plainly in front of you. If you are a Muslim or a Christian, you can't see the truth in front of you. You can't, because you're blinded by Jesus. You're blinded by Muhammad. You can't see the truth. But when you become a witch, a devotee of your chosen God or goddess, or in my case, Hecate, you see the truth right there in front of you. And you call it out. You say it's exactly as it is. Your delivery might be considered cold, harsh, mean-spirited, sadistic, ugly, nasty, rude, disrespectful, belligerent, whatever word you want to use. But it's the truth, nonetheless. It is the truth. When you become a witch, you become much more honest, and you no longer want to hold your tongue. You want to keep it all the way real. And those who is meant to hear that message in that type of delivery, in that type of voice, will get it, will understand it. If you don't understand it, if you don't like the message, how it's delivered, then the message is not for you. But a witch is going to tell you the truth. A witch is going to tell you the truth, even if you don't like how it's delivered. It's the truth. Like what I just said a couple minutes ago was cruel about the Christians having sex with children. But it's the truth. I can't use pretty words, Hello Kitty words, pretty rainbows, pretty colors. I don't do that. I don't talk in a flowery way, in a cutesy way, in a nice way. I'm from New York. I'm a New Yorker. If you can't tell by my accent, I'm a New Yorker through and through, to the bone. All right. If you know anything about New Yorkers, they're gonna tell you what's really good. I'm always gonna tell you what's really good. And on top of that, I'm a Scorpio. If you know anything about Scorpios, you know we tell you the truth. Because we don't like lies. We don't like being lied to. We don't. As a witch, you become much more you see more. You become more observant. You do. And you are no longer interested in a fairy tale life. A lot of people become witches because they want truth. They have been lied to their entire lives. There are multiple reasons why you might want to become a witch. There are multiple reasons why you might want to become a witch. But keep in mind that witchcraft is working with the energy found in nature to bring about real significant and permanently positive change, so that witch no longer goes through life the hard way. Being a witch makes your life easier. It makes your life easier because you're not struggling like the way of the world. You're not. When you become a witch, when you become a real, true, genuine, authentic, sincere witch, You are not struggling like the rest of the world. They are struggling because they are not like us. Too bad, so sad, become a witch. Christians don't like witches because Christians feel like witches are doing all of these spells, rituals, hexes, and curses and causing a disruption of the world. Christians have never denied that witches are real, but they don't like what they do. Even though none of these Christians have ever been to a ritual, they have never actually talked to a real, genuine, authentic, sincere, real witch, especially like myself. They just go by what the Bible says, which is just a piece of outdated manuscripts. The Bible is just a bunch of outdated manuscripts. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I used to be a devout follower of Christ, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm not just talking out of my booty hole. I know what I'm talking about. That's not true. Witches are not casting spells and having those spells go out and causing a disruption in the world, because the majority of witches do spells for themselves, not for the rest of the world. Witches understand that not everyone in the world is worthy of receiving a witch in their lives. And those who are worthy must earn that right to be in a witch's life. You don't just come into a witch's life. You don't. You do not just be friends with a witch. You have to earn that friendship. It's not given freely, because we know that we have the biggest target on our backs because we say we are witches. Because we are witches. That's the truth. That is the truth. Witches very rarely do spells for other people. It's better to become a witch than go to the same witch, the same high priest, the same high priestess like myself over and over again for a spell. When you can become a witch, learn the craft yourself and change your own life. Because witchcraft is different for every witch that performs it. Witchcraft is not the same for me as it is for you or will be for you. It is different for every witch that performs witchcraft. For every witch. No two witches, just like snowflakes, not two witches are the same. No two witches are the same. We are all different. And guess what? We are still welcome in a craft. It is our differences that make us special. It is the differences among witches that make us special. Why do you want to become a witch? You don't want to become a witch on just one night of the year in October 31st. Do you really want to just be a witch for just one night on October 31st? Wouldn't it be better to be a witch for the rest of the year? It's better to be a witch 365 days out of a year than one day out of the year. Because for the months before October, you have time to practice the craft, to master your craft, to improve your craft if you happen to be a witch right now watching this, to be better, so that when October 31st comes, it's so much easier to cast spells because you have been practicing since January 1st. You did not waste all this time until October 31st to do your first spell. Of course, there are people who are not witches that will be doing spells on October 31st, but they're not witches. They're just playing, which I don't advise you to do. Listen, if you are someone who is interested in doing spells on October 31st, also known as Samhain, which is New Year, I would recommend that you don't, because you are opening the door. You are going into a world. You are entering a realm that you don't know anything about. And you can bring spirits, dark entities, dark energy into your life that you can't get rid of because you're not a witch. You don't have a clue. I would not advise you to do spells on October 31st. If it's your first time if you're just doing it just to do it. I would advise you to not even use tarot cards. Oh, but they are just cards. Yeah, they are cards that can give you a blueprint of what could happen. When it comes to tarot cards, they are not set in stone. They don't tell you, they don't predict the future. They tell you what could happen. They tell you what's happening now, but the tarot cards don't say this is going to happen. This must happen. You will see this happen. No. You are still in control as a witch, as a tarot reader of your own life. Why? Because it is your own life. Your life is your own life. All of it. All of it. Your life belongs to nobody but you. Your life belongs to nobody but you. That's it. That is it. I would not advise you to delve in witchcraft on October 31st just because it's Halloween for you and Samhain for us, because we know that Halloween and Samhain are not the same. Even though they both fall on October 31st, they are not the same. They're not. I would advise you to start in January about learning about witchcraft. Follow people on social media that have a proven track record, who you know is a real witch, a real high priest, a real high priestess like myself, and learn from that person. But you have to be serious about learning from that person, not just playing games with them. Because that high priest, that high priestess like myself will be able to sniff you out and tell if you're genuine, if you're serious about being a witch, or you're just playing games. I would never teach someone witchcraft if they have no intention of being a witch for their entire life. I'm a witch for the rest of my life. I am a witch for the rest of my life. Listen, I'm 32 years old right now, so I have a long life ahead of me. All right, I plan to be around for a couple of decades, maybe a century. Shit, hey, why not, right? So I'm a witch for my whole life. Not a Muslim, not a Christian, not a follower of the Abrahamic faith. A witch. Capital WITCH. Witch. No. I understand that little kids might dress up as witches on October 31st, but that's because they don't know any better. And it really is just for fun. But on Halloween, so when you see people as witches, but they dress, I guess you would say, they dress normal. They just normal. They look normal. Because witches look like everyone else. Do you want to be a witch to look like the stereotype of a witch? Do you want to be a witch to look like the costumes in Spirit Halloween and Party City in Target? Or you're a witch but you dress and look like everybody else? You know, having long black hair, pasty white skin, and ruby red lips does not make you a witch. It makes you look like a witch that's in movies and TV, but what power do you have? What power do you have? What's special about you? Everybody who is a witch, a real witch, has something that is special about them. Like for me, for example, I am psychic. I can tell the future. I can wish for something and it will come true. Exactly. Why? Because I specify what I want that spell to do. If you are a witch, there is something special about you. You have a gift, some type of gift that nobody else has. I'm not talking about you have a gift that someone else has, but your gift just happens to be better. No, I'm not talking about that. You have a gift that nobody else has and is needed in our lifetime. If your gift was not needed in our lifetime, you would not be here now. You would not be here now. Every witch has something special about them. Even witches who are also devil worshippers. Even witches who are satanic witches. They also have something to contribute to this world. They do. Oh, no, they don't. Yes, you can. Let me tell you something. You can be a devil worshiper and a Satanist and also be a witch. Now, you can't be a Wiccan. A Wiccan is someone who follows the religion, the nature-based religion known as Wicca. You cannot be a Wiccan and also be a devil worshiper and a Satanist. Why? Because in Wicca, there is no hell. In Wicca, there is no devil or Satan or Lucifer or morning star or that low level shit that Christians are always talking about. We know Christians like to box witches and Wiccans as the same. Witches and Wiccans are not the same. One does witchcraft, one follows the religion known as Wicca. One is a witch, one is a Wiccan. A witch is someone who does witchcraft. Witchcraft is working with the energy found in nature to bring about real, significant, and permanently positive change. What is a Wiccan? A Wiccan is someone who follows the nature-based religion known as Wicca. They stay in tune with the changing of the season. The season has just changed. Right now, it is autumn. I would go so far as to say that New York in autumn is absolutely gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Have you been to Central Park in New York when it is autumn? It's absolutely stunning. I'm not trying to hype New York up because I'm a New Yorker, but it's the truth. Okay, I am a New Yorker. Okay, you can't tell by my accent. I am a New Yorker. And autumn in New York is absolutely gorgeous. You can't paint that. You can't buy that. You can't. You may not be a witch. You may be a Wiccan. And just to clear this up as well, you can be both. You can be a witch and a Wiccan. You can be both. It's your choice. When you become a witch, you want choices. When you are a witch, you have more choices. When you are a witch, you get to choose and choose not. The choice is always down to the witch. You can't tell a witch what they can or cannot do. If they wanted rules, they would be a member of the Abrahamic faith. And they are not. They are not. And yes, that does answer the question, can a Christian be a witch? No, a Christian cannot be a witch. I'm sorry if that has popped some of you's bubble, but it's true. There is no such thing as a Christian witch. There is no such thing as a Christian witch. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. That contradicts their Bible. Some Christians who are witches might say that Jesus was a witch, but they won't admit that Hecate is the queen of witches, which means that Jesus must put his face to the ground at the feet of Hecate. And the Bible states that Jesus is the supreme ruler of this earth, and he is not. So-called Christian witches would never admit that Hecate is the queen of witches. They will not. They will say, they will put Jesus in her place, which is retarded. I told you, which is at the beginning of this broadcast, you might not like my delivery of how I speak, the words, you might not like the words I use, but you will be okay. You will survive, okay? You'll be all right. You're not going to die. You have choices as a witch. You have choices as a witch. As a member of the Abrahamic faith, you don't have any choices. It's either Jesus or Muhammad or any other member of the Abrahamic faith or burn in hell, which is really extortion and terrorism. It is extortion and terrorism to give someone salvation and then give them damnation if they don't believe what you believe. That is extortion, known also as blackmail, and that is terrorism. That's the truth. Take what you want, devour it, eat it up, swallow it. Devour it, swallow it, and eat it up. That's the truth. That's the truth. You know how many people are in a shitty situation right now, and they contact other witches, or they come upon witches on social media, and they instantly feel a connection with them? Like many of you have felt a connection with myself, and many of you have gone on to live successful lives because you have this connection with me. You no longer go through life the hard way because I teach extensively how to get out of the hellhole you might be in. I know so many people now who are living successful lives because they're connected with me. No, I'm not hyping myself up. I am telling you the truth though. I am. If you come under the covering of a true, I would say, mouthpiece of Hecate, or anybody who knows what they're talking about, who has a proven track record, yeah, you have to see change in your own life. Change must come in your own life. It should not be the same life. You should not have the same life in 2024 as you do right now in 2023. Like, what? You know, have you felt like I've been following this high priestess for years now and nothing has changed? Maybe that's not the high priestess or the high priest or witch that you need to be following. That's why I tell witches to listen also. That's why I tell people, to also listen to their intuition. Your intuition is your inner compass. Now, if you happen to be a Wiccan and not a witch, maybe later on down the line, you might become a witch. And it's also true with witches. Maybe you're a witch right now, and later on down the line, you might become a Wiccan. It can go both ways. You can start out as a witch and become a Wiccan. You can start out right now as a Wiccan and become a witch. But the choice is always yours. And let me tell you something else too. You're not going to get in trouble if you decide that you no longer want to work with your chosen god or goddess. You're not going to get beaten up. Okay, you're not going to suffer any wrath. You're not going to have damnation because you decided, I don't want to work with Hecate anymore. How do I break this relationship? Just break it. Just tell Hecate, I don't want to work alongside you anymore. And guess what, witches? It's okay. It's okay. Maybe your time with Hecate is over. Maybe your time with your chosen ancestor is over. Even though you have that shared bloodline, even though they may be in the ground or they may have been cremated, you still share bloodline with that person. It's okay to start working with them when you do witchcraft. And they will not hold it against you. Listen, let me tell you something. If you decide to no longer be a devotee of a god or goddess, they will not hold it against you. They're not going to beat you up. They're not going to cause chaos and turmoil in your life. They're not going to, a coven is not going to send their members like the church do to harass you to come back. They're not going to say that you have been led astray by the devil or Lucifer or the morning star or Satan or, Peter Pan, whoever. They're not going to hold it against you. You can leave at any time. Now, I said a couple moments ago that it's a bad idea to decide to do witchcraft for the first time on October 31st. That might have sounded to you a little contradictory. Like, I can be a witch on October 31st and quit on November 1st. Because you're wasting that God's or goddess chosen time. What they will do is simply take back everything they have given you. So all of that fame and success and money, you're going to see gradually you make mistakes of your own doing and lose it. Because you wasted that chosen God or goddess or ancestors' time. You might start feeling right now the presence of your ancestors today. We are about 5 days away from October. October is usually reserved for our ancestors that have passed away before us, and pets, of course. Pets that have crossed over to Rainbow Bridge. That's what October is usually reserved for. That's when October is when that veil between the living and the dead becomes much, much thinner. And you experience spirit, supernatural. You might start to see ghosts. Yes. More in October. You might see your very first ghost in October because that veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. That's another reason why I don't promote doing witchcraft on October 31st, because that day on the 31st of October is when the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. So it's easier to communicate with spirits, with ghosts, with ancestors, and of course negative energy, negative evil entity is also waiting behind that veil. And if you happen to be inexperienced with the spirit world, oh yeah, you are opening up a can of worms that you can't stuff back in there without the help of a real witch. You know how many people have told me that they have seen, things being thrown around their house, seen their floors ripped up, see blood dripping from their walls. It sounds like a movie, doesn't it? But it's true. Hearing windows and doors slam shut, hearing footsteps on their stairs, hearing running, hearing children laughter, hearing people whispering, because these inexperienced people have opened up the world of the dead into their home. So they have multiple entities, ghosts, ancestors that may have been bad people when they were alive, just running wild, just bugging out, just tripping. Like, you need to, you wilding right now. They be wilding. they be wildin'. Like this motherfucker is crazy. Why you throwing that plate? Put that plate down. Don't slam no more fucking doors in this house. Don't slam no more fucking windows in. I'm not playing, but piss me off. You know? That's how you start to feel. And that's what you say. That's what you say. Like, have you ever seen a ghost ready to throw a vase across the room? And you say, look, don't play with me, right? Don't put it down. Put it down. I'm fuck you up. Put it down. Fucking bitch. You get to that point. Get to that point. I've seen it. I've never seen a person be possessed before. I've never seen that, all right? Let me just put that out there. I've never seen a person be demonically possessed. I've never seen that. But I have seen things thrown across the room, hearing voices, the door slamming, the window slamming, the TV coming on by itself, and the TV is not plugged into any outlet. How the hell can the TV come on if it's not plugged into the wall? Because it's a supernatural entity. It's a dark entity. It's dark energy. It's a spirit. It's a ghost. It's a trickster spirit. It's a monitoring spirit. The TV should not be on at all if it's not plugged into the wall. The radio should not be on if it does not have batteries. That's supernatural. You have opened up a door that can't be closed by you alone. You need the help of a witch. You need the help of a witch. It can be very annoying. It's hard to get rid of a dark entity or a ghost or a spirit, especially if you can see ghosts physically with your eyes. Like, I'm talking about the eyes in your head. And when it comes to me, I can see them also. I've always been able to see them. Sometimes you can see ghosts because of the environment you're in. It's the environment that's haunted. And sometimes you can see ghosts because you were born with that ability to do so. But when it comes to me, I've always been able to see them. Always. Sometimes they are transparent, like I can see through them. And sometimes they are as solid as you and I. That's very rare. Let me tell you something. It is so rare to see a ghost that looks alive like you and I, that you might start to think they are alive when they're actually dead. That takes an incredible amount of energy. Why do you want to become a witch? So you can experience that? So you can experience dark entities or dark energy because you think that you are brave enough to handle it? It has nothing to do with being brave. It's about being smart. It's about taking full accountability, full responsibility for yourself. It has nothing to do with being, courageous. It's about how far are you willing to go in the supernatural, in the realm of the supernatural, to have real, significant, and permanently positive change through witchcraft. Even tonight, on the 29th, I believe, I know there is a full moon coming for September. I believe it's on September 29th. I have to make a post about that, by the way, as a reminder to myself. There is a full moon coming up in a couple days where the goddess Hecate will be at the height of her power. So it's easier to do all kinds of spells, rituals, and hexes. I declared myself a witch on a full moon night. It was not October 31st, but it was a full moon night, and I was able to visibly be in the presence of the goddess Hecate on that full moon night underneath the full moon. That I want it all. I want Hecate to add her strength to my own and the wisdom to multiply anything that she gives me. So she takes nothing back. Whatever I give, Hecate gives me back triple. Now listen, it doesn't have to be a full moon night for you, because you may not be able to see the full moon. But any night of your choosing, or maybe just ask your god or goddess what night is best or what day is best to become a devotee of theirs, and then do it. Make time. You know, as a witch, you can't say, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. Stop saying that stupid shit already. Make the time. Make the time. Stop making bad excuses. Make the time to be a witch. Being a witch should never feel like a chore. If being a witch for you is a chore, then you're not a witch. Being a witch must be as easy as breathing. You just do it. You know, we don't notice that we are breathing. We don't notice that. But we are. I've been speaking now for over an hour. Check the time. I'm obviously breathing. Being a witch must feel like breathing. It must never feel like a chore. Being a witch should not be something you write down on your to-do list along with doing the laundry and mopping the floor. You are either going to be a witch or you're not. There is no area of gray. There is no area where you either do or don't do. Like that guy said, Yoda from Star Wars or Star Trek. I think his name was Yoda. He said, do or do not do. There is no try. But it's true though. It's true. I'm trying to think which movie or show that was. I think it was Star Wars, where Yoda says, do or do not do. There is no try. But it's the truth. Being a witch should never be on your to-do list. Just do it already. It should be effortlessly if you practice it, but you have to make the time. Stop making bad excuses and make the time to be a witch. You can't just be a witch when it's a full moon. What about the rest of the year? Or be a witch when it's just a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse? Do you even know the difference between a lunar and solar eclipse? Do you even know the difference? Yes, no, maybe. Do you know the difference between the two? You should. Why do you want to be a witch? You have to answer this question honestly. Take time out of your day to sit down with a pen and paper, marker, crayon, your own blood, and write out, why do you want to be a witch? Is it because you want real, significant, and permanently positive change? Or you just want to be a witch because it's trendy, or it's cool, or it's sexy, or it's fierce, or it's hot, or it's dope, or it's cool, or it's popping? Why? And then you either choose a god or goddess or allow a god or goddess to come to you. How do you allow a god or goddess to come to you? By simply lighting a candle in the color of your choosing. It can be your favorite color. Like my favorite color for candles is definitely silver, because the moon is silver when she is round and brightly lit up in the sky, when Hecate, the queen of witches, is full. So that's my favorite color candle. And then you do what is known as scouring. You just put a bowl of water next to your chosen candle and concentrate. When I say concentrate, I mean your kids are not in the background making noise. Your dog is not barking or farting. Your cat is not busy scratching the plastic off of your couch. Your husband, your boyfriend is not busy making loud noises while watching a football game. I'm talking about you have absolute quiet to be able to concentrate. You're not texting. You are focused on just that. Put the kids to bed. Put your husband or boyfriend to bed. Tell the dog to shut the fuck up. Tell the cat to stop scratching your damn couch. Turn the TV off. Stop that dryer that's about to break down anyway. Turn it off so you can have absolute quiet, so you can concentrate on what appears in that water. And then you write down what does appear in that water, and it will be a description of a god or goddess that has chosen you to be its devotee. I'm serious. You're not going to get a message if your kids are roughhousing in the background, if your dog is barking at nothing, or your cat scratching your couch when it has a scratching pole that you just paid $65 for. Get the noise out. Stop making bad excuses. There is no excuse. You need total quiet. You have to concentrate. You also have to concentrate when you're writing down why you want to be a witch. Don't take any break. Don't allow yourself to have any break. Write it down. Go ahead and do it. And when you have your answer, may it be one sentence or hell, a couple of pages as to why you want to be a witch, then what I would do is burn that sheet of paper or sheets of paper in the color of my favorite candle, which is silver, and wait. Wait for an answer. Watch your dreams, watch any visions, watch any signs, watch for any repeated numbers that keep popping up. Like, if you think to yourself, why do I keep seeing number 12? Why do I keep seeing number 13? The answer will come to you if this path of the wise is for you, because that's what witch means. Wise one. The word witch means wise one. You're wiser than people who are not witches. Does that mean that you are better than them? It means that you are wiser than them. That means you use your intelligence differently than them, if they even have intelligence to begin with. That's a harsh truth, but it's the truth nonetheless. The word witch itself means wise one. Are you wise enough? Do you want this enough? Why do you want to be a witch? You have to answer this question. I would strongly recommend you answer this question before casting your favorite spell. Not favorite spell. I mean, before casting your first spell. I would advise you to answer that question. Why do you want to be a witch? Just write that at the top of the paper to get you started. Why do I want to be a witch? And answer the question honestly, uninhibited. But you have to have peace and quiet when you answer that question. I'm telling you, witches, I can't stress this enough. The noise in the background when you are answering this question will fuck you up. Tell the kids to shut the fuck up. Tell the dog to stop barking. Put him or her in his cage. Tell your boyfriend or husband to stop screaming at the TV every time his football team makes a touchdown. Okay, you're happy. Shut the fuck up. I'm concentrating here. You have to have a backbone as a witch. As a witch, you have to have a backbone. You can't be a spineless jellyfish. You can't be a punk. You can't be a pussy, a sissy. Can I say it like that? Can I use those words? Yeah, I believe I can, because that's the truth. You have to have a backbone, or people will always make you bend over. If you don't have a backbone as a witch, people will always make you bend over. And witches don't bend for anybody. Ever. Ever. They won't do it. They won't do it. As a witch, you have to have a backbone. That does not mean you have to be mean-spirited. That just means you don't let people treat you like a piece of shit. That's all that means. That means you stand up for yourself. You speak up for yourself. If somebody is saying something or doing something that you don't like, you say something about it. Don't stay quiet. Like a little girl, like a little boy, like a child. You say something about it. You do something about it. Why are you taking that abuse? Why are you letting him or her talk to you like that? Where's your fucking balls? Where's your titties at? I said this before. You might not like my delivery of my message, but it's true nonetheless. It's true. It's all true. You have to answer this question honestly. Why do you want to be a witch? All of this that I said tonight on this live is to help you decide. Everything I said tonight was true. Despite my delivery, you might consider it cold, but that's just my personality. I have a strong personality, all right? I can come off sometimes as a little bit intimidating, even though I am just 5'3". I'm small. I'm only 5'3", okay? I'm small. But it's true, and it's in the way you needed to hear it. Remember, I don't use cute words. I'm cute, but I don't use cute words. I don't use flowery words. I don't use words to make you happy and smile and dance. I don't do that. I don't do that. And remember, I am a New Yorker, and I am a Scorpio. Okay, so I come off, I'm pretty strong. Okay, I'm pretty strong. So I do hope this broadcast, if you have been here from the beginning since I started live streaming, has helped you decide which way, how to answer this question. Why do you want to be a witch? So I encourage you to share this broadcast if you have not already done so with your other friends who happen to be witches or considering becoming one on your own social media platforms. And tag me in their comment section. Tag me in messages that you send to them about this live broadcast in particular, and tell them, hey, there is a high priestess in New York who is anointed and appointed by the Queen of Witches Hecate to help witches be their best, to have real significant and permanently positive change through witchcraft, so they no longer have to go through life the hard way. Because when you get the message out about me, it puts me on the explore page. Let's keep it real, all right? It puts me on the explore page. So I get shown to more people. I get a larger audience. And that larger audience becomes witches. And they change their life through witchcraft. Because witchcraft is working with the energy found in nature to bring about real significant and permanently positive change, so that which no longer has to go through life the hard way. Because no witch should be struggling. So when you share my broadcast, when you share my posts and my reels, it puts me on the explore page so people watch it and they come back to my account and they see for themselves that, hey, this is a real high priestess that is anointed and appointed by Hikanta, who knows what she's talking about. She has a proven track record, and I need to come under this anointing. I need to be connected to this high priestess so that I can have real significant and permanently positive change through witchcraft. So thank you, witches, for taking time out of your day. I've been live now for maybe an hour, over an hour. It says 76 minutes. I don't know. So with that being said, thank you, witches, once again for joining me, and I now release you into your evening. Thank you, witches, once again for joining me, and I'll speak to you, witches, soon. Bye, everyone.